All right, so this morning I got up at around 6:30. I decided to eat something really quick, so I made pork chops with sautéed mushrooms, and then I started working on a video idea. And for some reason, the last few days, ever since I've been stressed out about work, I don't feel like myself. I feel strange. And when you feel strange, it's hard to be creative. And when it's hard to be creative, it's hard to be a content creator, but you have to do it. It's like working through anything. Like this morning, I went to the gym and the gym receptionist told me, like, the first thing that happened, I walked up to the counter and I said hello. And she just burst into, my dad almost passed away Saturday night at midnight. And I was like, whoa, this is a lot of information. I didn't realize we were on that level that you were going to give me all the grisly details of your father having a major heart attack on the floor in your house. But that happened, and you just kind of have to roll with it because I said something about extremely low wages because right now she's spending all of her time in the hospital with her father because, he's an 80-year-old man, and chances are this isn't going to this isn't going to work out. And I don't know how many people's parents I have met in just the last few months where they're gone just like that. They're no longer among us. But when you think about these things, these people have these traumatic events going on top of traumatic events, which is trying to survive on less than $300 a week. Now, this is like fourth or fifth person that I know that is working a sub $20 job and working less than 20 hours. I don't know how these women are making it other than selling feet pictures. But I have made an entire career here on YouTube with the expression nobody wants to work anymore. And the reason I'm coming back to this is because I put together a script from a woman, I think her name is Jennifer Brick, and I watched a few of her videos. I tried to make videos based on her videos, but it wasn't there. It didn't sound like a millennial steam video. She has a different angle. She's different. I mean, and she's probably doing pretty well, I'd say, on the platform. I mean, she has 150,000 subscribers, so she's pretty well established on here. And I am not. So I thought to myself, you know what? I think I'm going to go in a different direction. But the problem with going in a different direction with a no one wants to work video is that it's painfully obvious that the situation that nobody wants to work is going in the direction where more and more people are just not going to work. I was just at Kroger's. I was talking to one of the old lady cashiers, and they have three cashiers that have already turned over this month. And the reason for that is, I mean, what is it, people? It's simple. Not enough money, terrible hours, and horrible working conditions. In fact, the video that I was putting together right before this that I ended up scrapping on was what do you do after you leave a toxic workplace? Because that's going to be me in a few days, in which I'm going to have to realize that, I put up with a lot of crap at my current job. And the strange part is that no one in my department cares, right? No one around you cares. It's the rest of the corporation that's depended heavily on this one person that's not even really part of that group. And yet you're going to get rid of that part of your group and then you're going to see what happens. Because in a position like mine that is very unique, you just don't fill it with someone else from that same group. It just doesn't work that way. It's a person, my job is a combination of like 10 other full time jobs. But with that said, I'm not going to talk about that anymore. Let's get back into the core content of this particular video. So I have three talking points. I just ripped one sentence out of each talking point, and we're going to go through this just like I would on any other Nobody Wants to Work video. So here we go. Workers have historically fought for fair treatment, safety, and livable wages. we are seeing in the media currently, I think the Boeing people are still on strike for fair treatment, decent hours, not being bullied at work into working on your own time, having a schedule that fits your life. Fair treatment is not just coming to work and getting a paycheck. Fair treatment means that they respect you as another human being. Just because you're not an executive doesn't mean you need to be treated like whatchamacallit, like a feral dog, or any animal. I feel like the corporations have so much power that they treat the proletariat like pigs, and they let the pigs wallow around. They give them just enough food for the pigs to stay alive, but I don't believe the treatment has ever been fair. Safety, when you think of safety, don't think of it as in physical safety, but think of it as a mental safety. When you're always worried about losing your job, safety becomes about not having to worry at night about whether or not you're going to come in just to find out that they're going to escort you out of the building with security. And again, I've told you guys this recently happened to a person that I know, is that they have this dashboard, and I believe we had it when I worked at Walmart as well, is that you're allowed to have so much on your record, right? It's a point system. And once you can't get rid of the bad points that keep accumulating against you for being tardy, not showing up, being sick, wanting time off because a lot of jobs are notoriously bad about not giving you any time off. My current job is at one of those horrifying jobs where there's no way that I could take a vacation. Not only financially, but just the time off. And when you're a really important person, I mean, the department shuts down when you're not there. That's really what it comes down to it. There's no one there to buy anything. There's no one there to approve anything. There's no one there to do that job. And you're just like, how could they give so much power to one person? But that creates, like, I've seen this in real life with the HR people, the people that are directly responsible for firing people. Those people are traumatized by their work because they're dealing in bodies, they're ruining lives. When you take away someone's employment, what you're doing is you're taking away their lifeline to to being able to pay their bills. And what else is there in life? All we do is pay bills. And when you, as an HR person, get that decision that so and so, who may have worked here for years, you don't know this person, but you're the person who's going to have to call them and tell them you don't work here anymore. Your last day is today. Your last day is this minute. And out of the 200 people that have been fired in the last few weeks, I didn't think I'd be among them, but you never know. See, and that's the safety that you don't have inside of your head, is you just not knowing. And so on top of not knowing, your wages are not enough to keep up with keeping you financially secure. So when your wages aren't enough to pay the rent, to pay your car payments, to buy your food, and you're in debt, you're in credit card debt because you can't afford to pay your bills with the 40-hour work week. And this is actually something I just said to that Kroger's cashier, because she's an old school woman. She still thinks and working hard. And I don't understand how at like 60 or 70 years old, when you work for this company for 30 years and they still treat you like garbage, you're still not making a living wage, you still believe in the system. Some people have to believe in the system, because if they stop believing in the system of hard work and any job is a good job, they would lose it. They would come to the realization that this world is trying to destroy me intentionally for profit. And they just can't let that mechanism go inside of their heads. Talking point number 2. The rising cost of essentials like housing, education, childcare far outpace wages, making financial security elusive and eroding the incentive to remain loyal. There is no loyalty in America, either towards their workers or from workers to the corporation. In fact, I just read this in the comments that they treat every job that they go to as a 1-year contract. That can be extended if conditions are okay, but more than likely at 1 year, you're gone. You're going to go somewhere else because that's the only way you're going to get a raise. Evil Corp doesn't believe in paying people real money. Your McPaycheck every week, they know it's not enough. Just did a video about this the other day. They know that what they pay you isn't enough, and that's intentional. They pay you purposely not enough so that you have to keep coming back, and eventually they are going to decide that they don't need you there anymore because workers can get expensive. The more a worker stays at a job, the more likely they are going to want things like benefits and vacation and sick time. What they want is bare minimum. They want everyone to work for the temp agency where you come, you're hourly, and they don't have to call you back the next day. If they don't need you the next day to do a very specific job, they don't call you. They don't get the performance. They didn't like the look on your face. They didn't like your attitude. Something about you they didn't like, and you're gone. And that's something that all corporations have to deal with because right now, even in my own job, they hired a guy very recently that has made no friends at the corporation. In fact, he's one of the most disliked people in the entire department. But guess what? That guy has some sort of job security, or else, as the newest person that started working there, he wouldn't be there. But there are people that won't even talk to him. Not at all. They're just like, you know what? If I don't absolutely have to, I'm not going to talk to that person. And see, I saw this last year with um, the senior manager. Last year, we were having a lot of problems. A lot. I mean, yesterday, the department was pretty much shut down in my area because of all of the problems that I have pointed out. And these are large problems. These are department shutting down problems. And the reason those problems exist is because they kept letting this same guy do whatever he wanted. He just decided that his meetings with the senior manager were just going to stop, and he decided that he wasn't going to talk to me. He wasn't going to talk to the senior manager. The only person that he was going to talk to was his boss, and just fill him with all kinds of crazy lies about how great everything was going. And this is why I got into that fight a week ago with the executive team, is that I had to show them this isn't working, this isn't working, and this isn't working. And that guy that keeps telling you that things are working is trying to keep his job. And while I was doing this in this meeting, Gen Z, as soon as I was done, it's like, why do they keep wanting to throw you under the bus, millennial statement? I'm like, because that's what people do. That's what people at corporations, that guy knows that he shouldn't have that job. He knows that for a fact. He knows that he's just been trying to get by. He's been making excuses for why his friend should keep his job. But everyone above him realizes that this isn't working. And that's where they try to nail me and say that it was my fault, that I was responsible for all of these failings. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to have this. And so I I showed them, and the people that were getting in trouble the next day had that battered battered wife syndrome look on their face, like they got the crap kicked out of them. And the reason for that is because they want to pass off failures onto other people. They want to make it look like other people are failing, but the reality is the whole area is failing because of poor choices, because of choices that they've made that involve people that don't want to work there. That's really what it comes down to, is people who show up to work that don't want to work there and somehow manage to smile enough at the right people so that it seems like everyone else is a problem. That's what they've done. This is what happens in a workplace when everyone who works there is miserable. Everyone wants to do as little as humanly possible. Everyone doesn't want to take responsibility or be the person that is responsible. In fact, the executive team had to tell the other members of my team last week that that's not his job, and they really didn't like hearing that, because when someone says it's not another person's job, what they're saying is it's your job to make sure that these things are working correctly, which again puts you on the spot and makes you look incompetent, because how could you be doing something if you weren't really doing that job? And as I pointed out, no one was doing that job. So Anyhow, off on a huge tangent there. So coming back to this point here of essentials, when everything that's essential, everything that we buy is doubled or tripled in price since the pandemic, yet wages have stayed nearly the same or gone down lower, it puts people in a negative spiral financially. And this is one of the biggest reasons why people don't want to work anymore, because the economic reality for our daily lives is abysmal. We're all trying to figure out how to stay alive. We become a survival culture. Not just some of us, not just the people working at Taco Bell, but this survival has creeped up into middle and senior level jobs, because I have a senior level job. And when I look at what I can afford, if you were to open my fridge right now and look at how much money I'm spending on food, I am not. I bought eggs this morning and I bought ground meat. That was it. And that's going to last me for the rest of the week. And I don't know what else to say other than this is where we're at. You know, that little trip to the grocery store today cost me $50. And I mean, I got nothing. Like, I don't even know. I got like cheese, salsa, and butter. And I think that was it. I think I got 5 or 6 items to make, like a small breakfast item, because I have to leave for physical therapy in 45 minutes from now. But anyhow, moving on to our final talking point. While productivity has surged, burnout and job dissatisfaction have skyrocketed. And you know why job dissatisfaction has gone up so much? It comes down to the simple reason why we go to work. Job satisfaction is way down because people are showing up at a job where there's too much work and not enough pay. That's really what it comes down to. Every single person that has left my current company has left for one reason. They're trying to overwork everyone. They're trying to squeeze 40 to 60% more productivity out of a person that's already completely burnt out. Can you imagine trying to get more productivity out of a battery that's deader than a doorknob? That's what corporate America is trying to do right now. That's what they've been trying to do to me for years. And I've just been, you know, I can work at this level, but add more things and then ask me why more work isn't getting done. It's pointless. In fact, yesterday, while I was sitting in the office, I could hear the president of my company. He was like calling around, like in a panic, trying to figure out how he was going to make things work better, because they they've cut jobs in my area, and they've increased the amount of employees. So there was a 25% increase in employees this year in the just total count, even while they were firing 100 people a month, which is on average. Last month was an incredible month for terminations just because of a change in management, and suddenly they are looking even harder at the bottom line. You've got people who are looking at every piece of information that they can to see where they can save money so that they can give more money. Because when you're trying to save money at a corporation, it's not like you're looking to save money to give it to your workers. That's not where the money goes. When Walmart is cutting uh, costs, it's usually coming down to where can they cut it? Labor. Where can they cut it? Benefits. Where can they cut it? They can cut hours, they can cut people. It's always about cutting the people and increasing profits, bonuses for executive members of any corporation, because your job is to make certain that the shareholders and the executives are the people that are doing the best at the corporation. They are the people that matter. The workers will be sacrificed day in and day out, because they are only essential in the sense that they generate the profits. But when it comes to actually benefiting from those profits, the same essential are disposable in every conceivable way. When you look at the way that corporations do layoffs, it's like, well, we don't need these 10,000 people. Well, let's just get rid of them. And you're like, are profits really, really that bad? Are you going to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy because you're not making enough money? No, it really comes down to downsizing and and making certain that there's as little waste as humanly possible. And guess what? The humans are the waste in this particular picture. Anyhow, that's why no one wants to work, is we're feeling that essential and disposable nature of human life in our current time. And working isn't what it used to be. Working used to mean that you had stuff. Working used to mean that you were safe. Working used to mean that you could look forward to a comfortable retirement. They have absolutely gutted the the job system in America. Every job feels temporary. Every time you go to a corporation, you look around at all the empty desks. Like I can walk around in my building and see all the places where people used to be that aren't there anymore. And you wonder, it's like, well, was this intentional? Yes. Is the corporation making record profits? Yes. So why are things like this? Because greed will never stop. That rich people are the biggest detriment to the human world. In fact, someone asked me yesterday, where do you see the world in 20 years if there are more and more jobs taken away by artificial intelligence? And it's simple. In our future world, there's going to be less people. And it's for two reasons alone. Number one, people aren't having children. Number two, the people that aren't having children are going to get old and they're going to bite the bullet. And that means that the the population will go down and it will just continue. Think of Japan. That's where America is going, because when people aren't having kids because they can't afford them, or worse, in order to have kids, you have to first find a relationship. And Susie Rottencrotch really, that whole thing with, like, my mom, my mom was a Susie Rottencrotch in the 80s, with, five kids with five different dads. That's not the modern woman. I don't see a Gen Z girl walking around with all these children. It's just not. It's just not the way that they think. Gen Z is very different about the workplace, about relationships. Hell, Gen Z doesn't really drink. So, and that's where a lot of children came from. I know. I've been there before. So, anyhow, I'm going to leave the video right there. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will talk to you guys in the next one.